Welcome back. Do you recall the report we just created, the product backlog anti-patterns report that looked quite okay at first sight, but the question of course is, does it hold up? Is it really a quality paper? Is it something that we can use for ourselves or probably even distribute to other people, our stakeholders, for example, our team members? And if we do so, what kind of implication does it have? So let's delve into it. You may recall that we had a lot of suggestions. There were some key findings, practical implications, actionable next steps for the upcoming sprints, not just pointing to what is wrong, but also what you can do about it. And there are some references, and of course my ego feels good if I'm cited at the first place. So much so. Now, what can you do about this? I will show you two ways to actually get a better understanding what quality your AI just created here. So the first one is a GPT. You will get access to that one as well, of course. And I created it for my AI for Agile bootcamp. And that editor is based on publicly available information on how decent editing of scientific papers work. So it is really a hardcore editor focused on journalism, publishing, academia. And seriously, it's not holding back. So it's not always fun to have this thing analyze something that you built. And it works in a way that you provide the original prompt that created your report, and then you also upload the report. And let me show what it actually came up with here. So that is the original prompt, right? And I also attached the report to the thread. So it does not take long, right? It's based on O3. And what it came up with, weakness. Evidence relies on non-authoritative blogs, medium, age of product. Okay, that is really a blow to my ego. And marketing sites while omitting peer-reviewed or international institutional research. Okay, the problem we have here, of course, is that the AI can only access freely available sources. So if all the classic peer-reviewed institutional research is behind paywalls, the agent does not have access to those, which of course limits the available number of sources in the first place, right? At least they consider Scrum.org and Scrum Alliance to be decent places. Okay, placeholders, links, they really don't like the way of citation here. They really hate it. There's some more on the classic writing side, duplicated headline, inflates the length and looks unedited. No, I don't like that. The in-text citation numbers and bullets are scrambled, so that's another issue. So you certainly would not clear the mark for an academic publication here, by all means. Key findings assert effects, without no quantitative proof or study excerpt. This is, of course, a classic issue, right? Often what you have is people suggesting something and the AI agent too, like do X and it will get better. But there is no data that actually supports this suggestion. Actionable next steps are generic, lack KPIs or owners. That's certainly an issue. Reference list contains duplicate, truncated titles and missing dates. Okay, this is an absolute no-go in academia and serious publishing. The tone oscillates between analytical and prescriptive how-to language without clear section breaks. So this is also not a good idea. Possibly overlength, 5 dense sections plus sprawling reference risk exceeding the 2 pages once formatted. So you may recall the original prompt included the constraint that it shouldn't exceed 2 pages because it's supposed to be an executive summary. And of course, no visual aids, so that certainly would be helpful. classic question, my style, what stakeholder on your team would challenge a Medium post as a just opinion, and how will you defend the claim without a stronger source? This is seriously interesting, because if you hand this version 1 of the report out to other people, brace for impact. Those questions will come. And what you don't want is undermine your career by handing out something that is substantially not fit, right? So what did I do? I asked the GPT, could you please improve the original prompt to avoid the weaknesses for a second iteration? And it came up with a significantly different and, I believe, improved prompt that we have here. So, report must constraints, 2-page readable in less than 5 minutes. So, 1 tight paragraph, 120 words or less, 3 to 5 key findings, anchored by credible, citable evidence from peer-reviewed studies, official Scrum.org, Scrum Alliance publications. So it's a publication. We're not no longer talking about the Scrum.org blog, for example. And of course, reputable domains that usually are linked to academia or good sources of studies, findings, surveys, etc. pp. Practical implementation, explain what the findings mean, actionable steps, 3 to 4 SMART recommendations, specific owners, reference list, alphabetize, complete citations, author year, title, source, URL. So a classic academic approach here, right? Style and constraints, less than 700 words, yada, 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 yada. Delivered in Markdown. And guess what? I ran the thing, and it created actually another report, so version 2 of this report. And as you really can see, okay, this is significantly shorter. These are the key findings, and you actually have real studies that provide data here. Then you have practical implications. It's easier to read because now you have a table here, healthy backlog versus anti-pattern riddled backlog. Actionable steps, and we now have the good way of doing that. Next sprint, product owner will remove, yada, yada, yada. There are metrics in there, that what you would like to achieve, and you can count whether you achieved it or not. Then we have a reference list. Okay, now it's referencing to the Agile Manifesto. And I don't know how Mark Levison made it in here, and they skipped me, but well, life's an endless fight, right? The Scrum Guide made it in here, and we actually have a real academic study about this. So we will need this thing for a second run. I will show you why. Because using the editor GPT is just one way of assuring quality of your reports. The other one, of course, is that you ask one of the big models to do the job for you. And so I asked Gemini, can you please help me here? And so this is my prompt, so again, meta prompting, I'm asking Gemini to create a prompt for itself, so I'm concerned that the report is inaccurate, version 1, right? The sources mentioned are relevant or even exist, and I don't know whether suggested actionable next steps are relevant. Yes, yada, 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 yada. And now he basically created a prompt for itself to actually analyze the whole thing. Right, and it's important that you add the report while creating the prompt, because otherwise it has no understanding of what the report looks like, so it cannot tailor the prompt to the specificities of the report. So do yourself a favor, always attach the document you want to analyze when you meta prompt for the prompt itself. Okay, so we have a decent source verification and relevance, high priority, for every citation, existence check, link validation if applicable, content relevance and accuracy check, source authority, credibility, brief assessment, right? Relevance and practicality of actionable next steps, output format. Okay, so, and then I asked, come on, run this for me, and here we go. So overall, The report identifies relevant anti-patterns and proposes actionable steps. However, there are significant issues with the referencing system, making it challenging to verify all claims directly, yada, yada, yada. So it's maybe a step in the right direction, but certainly there are a lot of issues that need fixing, right? So, despite all of this, the content generally aligns with the established Agile Scrum principles. You see, there's a difference in connotation here. So the editor GPT is really very strong and strictly focused on academic standards, how to do this right. So here we have, it's a bit more lenient in the sense, but generally okay, but there are things that we can actually improve. So the primary issue is a mismatch between the numerical citations in the report's body and the numbered list of references. So they also get upset about the quoting and how the administration of citations is handled here. So what else do we have? Map source link, the link is accessible. So it goes through everything step by step to actually figure out, okay, what is going on here, right? So I find this really helpful. Well, as instructed, right? Are these links relevant and do they really exist? I find this really, really helpful. Okay, let's go a bit further down. So summary of source authority credibility. The sources cited are generally reputable and relevant to Agile and Scrum. Stefan Wolpers frequently cited as a well-known voice in the Agile community. Wow. My God, this sounds good. The presence of the research paper from anodes in the computer science and information system adds a layer of empirical support. Again, don't just claim something, bring some numbers, make life so much easier. Concerns, the primary concern is not the quality of the source, but the presentation of the citations, which is confusing and prone to misinterpretation. Relevance and practicality of the next steps, backlog health audits, yada, yada, yada. So directly accesses, especially clear. The suggestion of fading rule is a good specific tactic. Clear and actionable, clear and provides helpful examples for not now conversations, reinforcing PO accountability. Set a grooming cadence. Okay, we do not use grooming in this context. It's called refinement, so provides concrete numbers and suggests visualization, which are all very helpful. So the report contains valuable information regarding product backlog anti-patterns, profound sound, actionable advice. The content itself appears to be accurate and well aligned with the established Scrum and Agile principles. However, a major drawback is a confusing and inconsistent citation system. Can be used as a resource as its core content. Its actionable steps are sound. However, it should be used with the caveat that the referencing needs significant cleanup to improve academic rigor and user friendliness for source verification. Without a clear and consistent citation format, readers might struggle to find the exact source, specific claims, potentially eroding trust in the report's accuracy. Now imagine that you just forwarded this without a comment or something like that. The potentially eroding trust the report generates is directly projected to you. So you don't want to do this. Now, this is the reason why we created another version of this report. So I have received a revised version of the report, see the attachment. Is this an improvement? Okay, so he compared now version 2 to version 1 and demonstrated significant improvements in addressing primary concerns. Citation system, while still having some minor redundancies, is much clearer and more consistent. Easier verification of sources. The actionable next step remain relevant, practical, and well aligned with Scrum principles. Now further enhanced with concrete owner KPI time box details. The report is a notable improvement in terms of reliable and usability. And now it again delves into the issues that are still remaining, but nevertheless we're making we're getting in the right direction here, right? So overall conclusion: sustainability for use is highly usable as an accurate and actionable resource on product backlog management. I will give you all these things and access to what we do here, and I hope you enjoyed this quality assessment session.